In this video, we'll look at the multiple answer question type. So we've got a question created here, and we're going to select the question type multiple answer. So multiple answer question type is a lot like the multiple choice question type, but the student can select more than one correct answer. So for example, I'm going to write a sample question text. So maybe we say something like, suppose x varies from x sub I equals, and then we'll do xi, we'll create a variable xi, to x sub f equals xf. Which of the following is true? And then we'll tell them to select all that apply. Okay, so if we click save and preview, we're going to get a display. We're missing some values. So we'll go ahead and create some variables. So we'll say xi is some random integer between 3 and 7. And then maybe the final x value is a random number between 12 and 18 in increments of 0.1. And then to define the actual choices for the multiple answer, we're going to use the same variable that we used for the multiple choice, which is questions. So we can do questions, and then we'll do equals, and then we'll start typing in some answers. So we'll do delta x equals xf minus xi for one of them. We'll do delta x equals, and then we're going to create a new variable called dx. So we'll go up to our variables section. We'll actually define a new variable dx, which is equal to xf minus x sub I. So there we're just computing the value of the change. That way we can plop that into our option pretty easily. And then we'll just do some dummy ones like delta x equals x sub I plus x sub f, as well as delta x equals, and then we can also do something like string concatenate. We'll do xi plus xf, and then we'll add our last tick in there. So basically all of this right here is one choice, but what we're doing is breaking out of this string to do a little computation, and then we go back into the string. So we'll go ahead and close that up, and we'll save and preview, and now we see our choices shown here. Notice that these are checkboxes. The student can select more than one, so they can select all of them, none of them, any combination thereof. And if we want to define the answer, we're going to define the variable answers. So we can pluralize that. I think it'll also accept answer, but I like to do answers because we can give it more than one. And answers is going to be a string that's actually a list of the correct indices, or the indices for the correct answers. So notice that I purposely put the correct ones as index 0 and index 1. And so in answers, we're going to do 0, 1. So the numbers that you give answers are indexes. You're not actually going to type out the actual text for that choice. So now we can quick save and preview. And if we select the correct ones, which should be 10.7 and this 13.7 minus 3, we submit that, we get feedback there. A lot of the extra optional variables and options that we have with multiple choice apply to the multiple answer, and you can find those in the writing questions help. One thing I do want to point out though is if we go back to the student preview and we select none of these and we submit the question, the student is still getting 0.5 out of 1, which seems kind of weird at first. But what's happening is since we have 4 choices, basically each one of these choices is worth 0.25. And if it's supposed to be selected, and it is, you get credit for that. But if an option is not supposed to be selected and it is not selected, the student gets credit for that. So like the student gets credit for not selecting answers that aren't supposed to be selected. So it might be kind of strange at first, but that's why it's doing that. If you want to change that format, you can define a variable score method and set that equal to, I believe it's all or nothing. I believe that's what it is. So if we try that out, we submit it. Now the student is getting no points for this because they haven't selected exactly what they're supposed to select.